What began as my father's retreat into a remote Himalayan valley soon drew me across high passes, guarded frontiers, and untamed mountains, chasing minerals, wildlife, and roads few dared to travel.
Hey, glad you're here. Welcome to the Himalayan Journals. Here on this channel, we bring to you real stories from century old field notes. We try to keep it simple and calm here. Think of it as a documented history of the Himalayas from the early 1900s, covering stories of indigenous wisdom, epic expeditions, and groundbreaking science passed on just as they were recorded. Subscribe, zone out, binge.
My association with Kullu began long before I was born, when my father first came to the valley around 1875. He was then an officer of the Munster Fusiliers, later of the Bengal Staff Corps, and his fondness for remote places drew him into this quiet corner of the Punjab. Captain Lee of the Sussex Regiment shared that inclination, and after retirement, both men bought land in Kullu, Captain Lee at Bundrole and my father at Manali. Their orchards are still tended by the Lees and the Bannons, a reminder of those early days. Although I spent most of my life within sight of the Himalayan mountains, I never climbed for the sake of climbing. My work and interests took me across the steep hills and over many ridges. In search of game and minerals, I traveled thousands of miles, sometimes into distant valleys, and those journeys provided all the exertion a man could need. Clambering after big and small game was strenuous enough, and today even that is beyond me. The thatchies near the snow line still shelter wildlife, and at lower levels bear and panther trouble grazing flocks. But unless they wander close to my land, as a snow leopard did last winter, they remain safe from my shikar. The gazetteer speaks of rich minerals in Kullu, and there is truth behind it. Silver once came from the Parbati Valley. Earlier still, sapphires were dug in quantity from the banks of the Kado Gokpo, a stream rising in Zanskar and joining the Bhaga at Darcha in Lahul. Lahulas crossed into Tibet for centuries to dig for gold. There were no spectacular strikes, yet the work continued because it paid. Gold was also washed in the rivers of Mandi state until that practice came to an end. Stories of these finds stirred my imagination when I was young. Rumors of a Nala in Tibet, rich in platinum, tempted me into a hurried adventure. On the 17th of May, 1905, I set out from Kullu with a relative who was an American-trained mining engineer. We traveled light and lived on the country as we moved through Mandi, Suket, Bilaspur, Sabathu, and Simla, then on to Dehradun, Mussoorie, Tehri Garhwal, and up the Ganges Valley to Gangotri. From there, we crossed the Nilang Pass into Tibet. At first, we congratulated ourselves on the ease of our passage, but the Tibetans soon learned of our trespass. Frontier guards overtook us, escorted us back, and warned us of the consequences if we entered again without a permit. We returned by the Shipki Pass to Poo, where we met the Reverend Peters of the Moravian mission, who later became bishop at Leh. From Poo, our route led to Ropa, over the Manirang Pass to Mani in Spiti, and across the river by Jula to Danka. We went up the Spiti River to Kaibar and Losar, crossed the Kunzam and Hampta passes, and reached Manali on 15th August. Our search for treasure had failed, but we carried back memories of Ovis Ammon, Kiang, and the grandeur of the Himalayas. Later, I supervised the extraction of stibnite for a Delhi firm on the Shigri Glacier in Lahul. Work there lasted only 3 or 4 summer months. The altitude, weather, and difficulties of extraction and transport made the enterprise uneconomical. A thorough geological survey may yet reveal the wealth that lies hidden in more accessible places. 5 years after my Tibetan venture, I went to Canada and British Columbia to study orchard practice. I traveled from Calcutta to England, then to Montreal and across Canada to Vancouver Island. I returned to India by way of Japan, China, Penang, and Singapore, almost circling the world. During the First World War, I saw France, Egypt, Aden, Iraq, Kurdistan, and Waziristan. Nowhere did I find scenery to match the Himalayas or the calm of my own valley. Kullu itself has changed little in my lifetime. Away from the motor road, life continues as it did when I was a boy. The older villages stand above 7,000 feet, in keeping with the legend that the upper valley was once a chain of lakes. Since the road came 20 years ago, motor buses have replaced ponies, though the journey from Patankote to Kullu remains far from pleasant. For climbers, the old route over the Bubu Pass is still the better approach. It offers rest houses at Jatingri, Badwani, and Karayon, and good acclimatization at over 10,000 feet. Many climbers rush from the hot plains to the mountains too quickly and suffer for it. Even the road to the Rotang Pass has proved too much for some. Deo Tiba has become a popular objective, though there are many unclimbed peaks between 15,000 and 19,000 feet. The Rotang is now a fashionable trek, but passes like Chandrakani, Hamta, Goralotnu, and Kali Haini offer finer scenes. Within 15 miles of Manali lie countless opportunities for short explorations. Local Gaddis know these hills well, though they cannot record their wanderings. Visitors often ask about the cost of trekking. It depends on transport and service. Light tents, simple equipment, warm clothing, and concentrated food reduce loads, though such items are not available in Kullu. Coolies carry about 50 pounds and pack ponies about 2 maunds. Their rates vary through the year, and arrangements must be made early. Only then can a journey through these mountains be undertaken with ease.